Hello again, and I'm back, and if you watch my videos you'll know I absolutely love dip powder. You can see I'm still rocking this bling one on my Cindy hand, and this video is inspired by a video I watched from Marla Kris, and I will link her video below. Yeah, there's dip powder under those as well. And yeah, so as I said, this video is an inspired one, as I saw Marla Kris make her own dip powder using acrylic powder and mica pigments. So I thought, as I've got this eyeshadow palette that I will never use, why don't I try and make some with actual dip powder, and then one of the little palettes from the little rounds from the eyeshadow palette, to see if we can make some dip powder from that. So I never throw anything away, so I've got some empty dip powder pots that I've used, and I'm using a smaller spoon than a teaspoon. It's like half the size of a teaspoon, and I've got some clear dip powder and some white dip powder. And as I said, Marla used a normal acrylic powder, and she put it all in a blender and blended it up so it made the powder finer, like dip powder is, because it's finer than regular acrylic that you use with Monma. So that was the clear I added in first. Now I'm going in with the white. Hopefully I've added enough there. So then we're just going to move that out the way. So I hope I've added enough. I should have, because it's only a little pot that I'm going to be putting it into. So yeah, so from the eyeshadow palette, we're going to take the blue one, and we're just going to gently scrape. Now these eyeshadows are very pigmented and very blendable, and I know it's not as how can we put it, it's not like as pure as a mica pigment, for example, because it's already been turned into something else, aka an eyeshadow. But it was all I had to hand for me to just quickly try this, just to see if it would work. So we're just going to scrape that into the powder, and at this point a blender would have come in handy, just to make the eyeshadow more smoother, because even though it's flaked really nicely, there was still some lumps, so to speak, and I obviously don't know how much of this to add, so I think I'm going to possibly end up going for the whole round of the eyeshadow. So we'll just give that a mix. As you can see, it didn't really do anything to the colour of that at all. So I'm going to continue to add the rest of the complete blue eyeshadow. As I say, I'm not one for makeup, and this is a bright eyeshadow, and they're definitely not colours that I would wear. So I have no qualms and problems about actually flaking this blue one up and tipping it out into this, because at the end of the day it's makeup worthy, and it is going for something else that I absolutely love, which is my nails and dip powder. Would like to say thanks to Marla for the inspiration to do this video, and I hope she enjoys my one as much as I enjoyed watching hers. But as I say, definitely go ahead and watch Marla's one, because she's got the actual proper mica pigments, and she blends them to make a complete smooth fine powder, where I have to squash the powder against the side of the pot as much as I can. It looks pretty fine. There you go, I'm quickly back. We squashed it a bit more off camera, as much as the eye can see. So now we're going to decant it into this smaller pot, and didn't think about that either. Don't want it tipping everywhere, so here we go. We're going to spoon it in. The spoon's little enough to fit in there. As you can see, this is a totally non-prepared random video that I just wanted to get out there, because it's something that I was itching to try after I watched that video yesterday. As I say, I don't have any pigments to hand, and the only powders that I've got are dip powders, because I don't use regular acrylic, because I'm not sure if there's something in that or if it's in the monomer that's similar to what's in gel, and I'm allergic to gel. So that is why we do dip powder. So in the pot, give it a shake and a roll round like I normally would, and let's take a look at it. Okay, it looks fine. There's quite a nice amount there that I made. So now we have a clear tip, because I wanted to test the opacity of this, because obviously I used clear white and an already pigmented eyeshadow. So we wanted to see how it will go on the nail. So just go in with my regular dip powder base, apply a nice thin layer, and we'll dip in. Now, as soon as I dipped in, I noticed the consistency is totally different to dip powder, and I think this is because you can see there underneath it, I've still got lumpies in it, but yeah, I think that the consistency changed because I added an eyeshadow, and it's got other ingredients in it like talc, possibly. I'm not sure the full list of ingredients of that eyeshadow palette, but because it's not just pure mica pigments, that is why I think this one the consistency felt different. The only way I can describe it is it was sort of like damp, even though to touch it wasn't damp, it just felt damp. It gave that feel, as sort of like it didn't just fall back into, once you dipped and moved out, it didn't fall back in, it just stayed there like wet sand when you're building a sandcastle. It's the only way I can describe it. But as I say, we'll carry on. This is all trial and error and a test just to see. So now we're going to apply a second. I'm just going to do two. You can see it's very opaque for two coats, but you can also see that the blue come out in my brush. So we had to wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe the brush. And again, you can see, just dipping it in, it sort of like clumps up. But it works. So yeah, I mean, I've been using dip powders for nigh on 4 years now, so I wouldn't say I'm a pro, but I've got a bit of knowledge with dip powder. But yeah, I mean, it covered, it worked. So that was the aim of this video, just to see if it would work. Obviously it would have helped if I could have made the eyeshadow possibly a bit finer. Maybe that would have made a difference, I'm not sure. But as I say, it's a nice enough blue. So that was just the activator there, just to dry off all those layers. And I'm going to quickly file off camera, which I've done, and ta-da, I'm back. And you know what? I actually like it. It's got like a speckled eggshell finish. So we'll just go in with the activator once more, and then we'll apply the glossy top. But for not actually squishing all the lumps out of that eyeshadow, and it didn't take long to get smooth, and I didn't have to overfile and leave patchy bits. Excuse me while I just wipe the brush there. But yeah, I sort of like this. It's got, as I said, like a speckled egg finish. It's speckly and just love the colour. And it was a fun experiment to try, and it did work. As to how well it would hold up on your nails, I should imagine pretty well, because the actual most of that is dip powder, and you're using the resin and the gel, like the resin top, so to speak, which they call the gel top, because dip powder is supposed to give like a gel-like finish. But yeah, so I hope you found this fun and helpful, and that's it for now. You take care. Bye.